Welcome everybody to this, our second Dragon Ball movie review!
Lasers, feelings, family found or literal.
New transformations that allow you to beat the villain!
Maybe that comes later in the video, punk! You've managed to find your way to another film review, you intrepid young genius, you. You found your way to our Mario video. That's right, Super Mario, as in Mario no surname provided, enemy of the state Mario. Plumber of Brooklyn.
Mario, as in Lou Albano, as in Ron Jeremy, as in, I forgot, Charles Martinet. How did I forget Charles Martinet?
This movie doesn't even forget Charles Martinet after all that.
Charles Martinet is in, I believe it's as early as minute 5, playing Jumpman, the original Jumpman.
Well, before we get into the particulars of the movie, as in, at the Combo Fans YouTube channel in this series, Real Human Beings, we like to take the emotional lens. We like to put ourselves into this.
Yeah.
We think these reviews mean a lot more to you when they mean a lot more to us. So here's something that I arranged when I bought the tickets to the Mario film. I put this right at my childhood movie theater. I splurged. We went out of the way. We traveled extra time. We went all the way to the one that you saw at the very start of this video. Victoria Gardens. What an absolutely myopically sad place it was. It was Good Friday when we saw this film. Yes. And as soon as the Mario film started, Jesus Christ died. That was the timeline. That's when that happened.
When we went there, we got there an hour early because we were like, let's hang out at this shopping center, foolishly forgetting it's a Christian public holiday, so of course every business observes it, and literally the only place that was open was Hoyt's.
I shan't be the one to throw the first stone. What are sushi businesses doing closed on Jesus' death day? What's that about? You go there?
We bought like a $7 hot chips that like was tiny.
Dollar a chip.
All that aside, the movie. No, even that aside, more than the movie, the Mario.
Do the Mario tell me who he is on an emotional level and a literal one?
On the literal level, Mario is the mascot character who has been in games as early as arcade cabinets and the Game & Watch. And he has basically been the flagship character for the flagship IP of Nintendo as far back as they decided to move away from Hanafuda and DICE. Who Mario is to me on an emotional level. I grew up, like many, many people my age, with a portable gaming device. And like many other people my age, that portable gaming device was made by Nintendo because Nintendo was the warm, family-friendly thing that my mother trusted. I played so many Mario games of so many different times, eras, and whatnot. Qualities even in my early days. And then when I got a home console in 2004, I got the Wii. And you may be thinking, well, they surely stopped with Mario. They did not, in fact. There were many Wii Mario games. Not the least of which was Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario Galaxy was breathtaking. It was this idea of a galaxy you could explore on foot in a way no sci-fi had ever done before. In like Doctor Who, Star Trek, Mass Effect, you need a ship. You need traversal options. In Super Mario Galaxy, you can jump to another planet. It was insane. It was mind-blowing. It was a window into a kind of ludo-narrative that young Matthew had never experienced. And I kind of jumped the gun there because I forgot to talk about Mario 64. But needless to say, Mario as an IP has held a dear place in my life for many years in its cutting edge of what is a playable world. As for the character, I have less to say, but I've always found him really nice and endearing. I love the Charles Martinet version, this like warm, bubbly, middle-aged man who just wants to help people and likes making children feel happy. I like the Lou Albano one, who very pointedly tells you, if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please.
I've always been deeply in love with the implicit realization Lou believes no matter what, you're going to hell. The original sin is not overcome. I thought about that while I was gushing down buttered treat as Jesus bled to death on the cross. I would like to talk about my Mario experience now, if you find it permissible.
Absolutely.
Mario is a lover I never took. Mario is a ship that crossed by me in the night, and Mario is a touch on the shoulder and a look at the hair and a look at the slicked back nature of it and a smile that he blasted my way, but that I just didn't let reflect onto me. Touches going unanswered, paths being untraveled. Mario just didn't come to the same place that I went to. I wasn't willing. Maybe he wasn't. It's all very saucy and romantic and Italian. But I just never goddamn did it. I never bought into Mario. I thought it was lame. I did, I'm honest.
Can I expound to the audience my favorite Mario June story? I swear it's quick.
I don't even know what this is going to be. Please listen in on this. We'll both be discovering this one together.
For a period of over a year, during the first period June had Discord Nitro, he, as a joke, would constantly send Mario 64 to people just as a Discord message.
Yes, everyone could look forward to 5 days of the week waking up to Mario.exe unknown file deposited.
Lizzie, another friend of ours, said, I didn't know it was Mario 64. That always scared me so much I never clicked it. As though June casually sends us malware.
As far as I'm concerned, a Nintendo game is malware. I don't do Nintendo. I know Mario is a platforming mascot man. I know that many people love Mario very much. Even one of the combo fans loves Mario very much. John, that's his name. But I don't do Mario.
Unlimited John works.
I bought the tickets to Mario because I saw that Matthew had a burning passion there, and also he literally asked.
I did.
And I figured we could learn a lot from Mario. I learned a lot from the Mario film. I think that's an appropriate segue to item 2 of our flowchart. What we liked in the Mario film. Matthew, you've got a blossoming love in your heart, growing like cordyceps across the earth.
Indeed. Much like cordyceps, mushrooms are an integral part of Mario. Another integral part of Mario is that good old Nintendo polish, and you can see it so much here. Look at that pipe. Look at that sound design. Look at the fact that King Bob-omb immediately falls asleep as soon as he sits down because he can't be asked looking at this train wreck of a wedding. There's so many little details that I honestly want to get a home release of this so I can go through it multiple times. Like, right at the very beginning, there's this New York-style diner with all these signed celebrity photos, much like you would think of a New York Italian diner. But they're all punch-out people, and then you see that they're not all punch-out people. The Duck from Duck Hunt signed one. They're, I'm sure in the trailer we all noticed the antique store that had old coins and old power-ups, but they have way more just, like, in the background gags. Like, the Crazy Caps store from Mario Odyssey is in the Mushroom Kingdom. There's so many times where you're just listening to the music and there's an orchestral version of an old Koji Kondo sound, and it's beautiful.
That's one I need to give some credit to, absolutely. I was watching the film and I was utterly amazed by how hard the symphony was going on this thing. completely and utterly orchestral works of beauty. Whole heart forward pounding and ambient and vivid and ludicrous and bombastic, each and everything to absolute perfection. Mario music made heavenly. The soundtrack to this one goes extremely hard when it's not insert music, which is more appropriate for the next part of the flowchart that we'll get to soon.
I would like to calm suspicions. Quash. Jack Black does have an original song for this movie. Love that. More about stuff we love. Also, not talking too much about the stars yet, because that is also a later category. I really love that so many details looking back to previous Mario media. There is a scene very early on where Mario and Luigi have to take a shortcut to their first plumbing job, and they run through a recreation of 1-1 from the original Super Mario Brothers in a New York construction site. There is an extended Mario Maker section. Not just that, Mario and Luigi live in New York and they go to the Mushroom Kingdom like a certain other Mario thing you might be familiar with. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Bob Hoskins earlier in Loving Mario. It's just Bob Hoskins almost died there, and I'm not sure he'd want to be remembered as one of the Marios. I digress.
We will give appropriate love to Bob Hoskins, his glorious acting, and his big hairy man chest whenever we feel confident enough for the Roger Rabbit video.
Yeah, which will come. We have that in a steelbook. There's so much in the design, the visual layout, the story layout even, to push it forward in this idea of, we like this. It is something you like, and we acknowledge you like it. Here it is, but in a new way. It's not just reference for reference sake. There sure are reference for reference's sake in there, but they do a pretty good job of working in decent amount of references into just being there, not for any real major purpose. It's something you wouldn't get as a reference if you were just a first-time experiencer. And I think that's important. There's never a point where they're like flashing lights looking at a Yoshi as like, it's a Yoshi! Your kids know what a Yoshi is? And this is probably going to be the last thing I'll say on this. It reminded me a lot of the very early years of the MCU, me being a comic book fan, and all the different, like, references they just sewed in there. Like, when they're talking about, oh, yeah, Arnim Zola, he was with the Hydra, and it's like, I know who Arnim Zola is. He's the guy with the computer face.
And he did go on to have a computer face.
Yeah.
Well, I have stuff to say on the As We Liked the Film category. I was astounded by how much I enjoyed the first 10 minutes of the movie, in fact. I found a really surprisingly down-to-earth and honest kind of working man story with a reasonable and accessible emotional core here. Not one too often repeated over the course of film history to have me completely and utterly bored of it. Mario and Luigi's connection. They're going into business together and being on the hustle culture bit of just messing it up over and over, being treated as screw-ups then because of that thing, but coming back to one another and giving it the honest try again. Never putting one another down for their uniqueness in that relationship, but rather always trying to uplift and worship one another. In that platformer section that Mario brings... Matthew, I called you Mario, isn't that funny? Get the psychologist out of the video. Mario does a lot of ludicrous, dangerous platforming over cement mixers, over steel beams, over most anything, and he always stops to open a door to give Luigi a smoother way through and keep Luigi in time with him. He doesn't leave Luigi behind. I thought that was going to be the emotional core of the film. I thought that would be what we were coming back to every time, and I'll be honest, I was buying in. I was seeing bouncy and delightful and silly mundanity put to the forefront there, and I was like, okay. And if we introduce a couple of weird Koopa kind of bits as we go on here, I'm certain we'll be able to find something really quite delightful. I did, admittedly, and this is a pain to me, enjoy the joke of casting Chris Pratt. In universe, and this is literally the beginning of this film after Jack Black comes stomping out the gate and shows you, look how good I am. The Big Dumb Mario voice by Mr. Martinet is in fact an in-universe racial caricature that they are putting on play for the commercials they're making for their plumbing business so people will give them attention. Mario and Luigi are just like straight up like guys from Brooklyn. They're not superheroes or anything silly, they're dudes. No one actually sounds like Charles Martinet.
Except for, of course, Charles Martinet's character, who is credited as Giuseppe, but I want to call him Jumpman.
And so that's a joke they do at the start of the film to tell you why Mario doesn't sound like Mario. And Luigi doesn't sound like Luigi. And then we get into the rest of the film. I would like to segue to the next part of our review now. Fucking section 3. We'll get rid of the cuss word. The Star Factor. Celebrity castings. Insert songs that are mostly extraordinarily gratuitous. Big screen, golden age movie business. Sent to you in 3D. We saw this movie in 3D.
We did.
Did you notice any reason for the film to be in 3D?
A few scenes I thought were improved by the 3D, particularly the Mario Donkey Kong fight scene, the final Bowser fight, and the Luigi in the graveyard hell world. When watching that, I was like, man, if I saw this in 3D when I was like 8, I would have never been able to look at a dry bones again.
Alright, 3D contributed something to the film. That's good. What did Chris Pratt contribute to the film?
Well, there's this funny joke at the start. I don't think we've mentioned it first off, but where Mario and Luigi are doing their classic voices, and then they break the kayfabe, and they're like, I don't know if we should do these voices. And then somebody played by Charles Martinet is like, no, it's how I talk. And I think that was good Chris Pratt usage.
There's 1 hour and 17 minutes more movie from that point.
Yeah, look, I think most everybody did a really good job. This is the most seriously I've taken a Seth Rogen character since the Green Hornet. But then again, in Green Hornet, I thought the script was going towards he's gay, so take that with a grain of salt.
Gay rights.
Oh yeah, great gay rights. Love gay rights. I don't think Chris Pratt was a great decision. I mean, like, yeah, haha, Chris Pratt voices everyone. Jokes aside, I didn't get enthused by Chris Pratt being there the same way I got enthused by Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Fred Armisen, Charles Martinet playing Jumpman. Chris Pratt was really the kind of thing where I'm like, I'm happy it's not Tom Cruise. I'm happy it's not a worse person.
God, it would have been funny if it were Tom Holland. Gets to play Spider-Man and Mario? He's taking my dreams from when I was a wee child and stealing them.
Leave some childhood for the rest of us. There is at no point where they make a joke about Chris Pratt saying the word Cooper like it's a slur.
Growing up, man, I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas.
But
Koopa!
On the star power, Keegan-Michael Key does a tremendous job. He is, of course, pitch shifted to be a Toad voice. He does not destroy his throat to sound like Mama. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I tried to do a Toad voice. Jack,
good falsetto.
Thank you. Jack Black is there. He sings a love song to Peach that is almost entirely him just going, Peaches, 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 Peaches. It's good. Charlie Day does a great job. I probably will watch more Charlie Day products. I just haven't watched a lot of his stuff.
Can I lay out my thoughts and feelings in a sizzling sentence?
Absolutely.
The only celebrity voice actors that do a shit job here are the two main goddamn voice actors. Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Pratt are so utterly bad in this.
I wouldn't go bad. I'd say by the numbers or passable or just...
I think by the numbers and bored and line reading and just treating it like any other thing is damning in this.
Oh, definitely.
There's an absurdity to there being a Mario movie that I want to see realized by the cast of the Mario film.
Yeah.
And I do not get Chris Pratt, who seems as though he thinks a little bit he's starring in a Taxi Driver remake as our hype jumping man for this.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note between, it's not like bad, it's not funny, it's not Steven Seagal in any movie, it's just the kind of okay that gets you a paycheck. It very showed up and did their job.
I don't know how much more dictation upon that point really uplifts us, but I think that kind of performance, that kind of ultimate nebulously forgettable performance here is exactly the most damnable kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just can't stand it. Whenever there was a big Mario or big Peach bit where they were together and they were traveling through any number of video game references, and it just felt extremely benign, infinite playlist-esque nothingness.
Yeah, they do good work on the expressions, but I can't really give that to, what is it, Anne Taylor-Joyce?
Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya, okay. Yeah.
Waku waku.
Peanuts! Yeah, I can't give that to them because that's the animators, and boy howdy, animation, great job, great job. I do want to talk about the breakout star of this feature. If this movie was Star Trek, she would be the William Shatner. If this movie was Star Wars, she would be the Harrison Ford. If this movie was Stargate, she would be somebody from Stargate whose name you can think of.
Farscape John Crichton. Just gotta get some Farscape goddamn rep in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anywhere else.
Oh, okay. Call me Farbot, but they're gonna have our Mivons on a platter if we don't starburst the dries out of here.
House has been damaged. We're not going anywhere.
Oh, Dren.
Asmara!
Pharrell.
Oh, son of a Hasmot! Yots!
Okay, you got me. I have no idea what that is.
Juliet Jelinek is an amazing, amazing actress with the veritable encyclopedia of lines she's given. In fact, Michael Jelinek, who nepotistically decided his daughter should star in this movie, actually introduced her to the horrors of warfare and the writings of Nietzsche and Kafka to get her prepared for the role of Lumali.
This is to say, and again, I don't go to Mario, forgive me if this sounds wrong, there is a little star creature captured in Bowser's mega prison in this movie who just repeats some of the most solipsistically depressing philosophical legwork you've ever heard. It's really quite something.
I love how, and I'll get a picture up to show you. This is like a toddler. Like at the premiere, she's being carried by her father. It's hilarious that she's doing this, and I like to think that this is something she can look back on one day and really, really feel happy about.
It is probably the youngest casting I have ever enjoyed since they put Eric Samaya in the driver's seat of that Uber murder vehicle. Little Gundam reference to alienate the audience. Thank you. We just got a little bit to Bowser's mega prison. Matthew?
Ooh, sorry, one more thing I just wanted to say about Star Power. Michael Jelinek, the co-director, the father of Juliet Jelinek, he's the guy who invented the DC character Music Meister.
Good on him. And I too have one last thing to say on the star factor. Keegan-Michael Key is given everything in this. His lines are hilarious. The actions of his character are absurd and delightful. He never undercuts the dramatic tension of a scene with a joke, as this movie is wont to do. Because Keegan-Michael Key's Toad, I said Code, is fully serious and fully hilarious.
Yes, there was a point where if it were me, I would have made a joke, and they didn't, and I'm actually very proud they didn't make this joke. It was the lowest hanging fruit ever. There's a point where Toad, Peach, and Mario were looking at this beautiful Mushroom Kingdom vista, and Peach said, "I'll never let anything ruin this." And if it were me, I would have had Toad be like, "Yeah, nothing will ever ruin this moment." But he doesn't.
Oh, yes, that would have made me detest the film.
Yeah.
We're coming up to section 4 of our flowchart. I'm sorry, this is probably where I have the most to say. Section 4, what we disliked.
Okay. I disliked how they set up Luigi getting into Luigi's mansion. There's a very horror section of Luigi getting to the mansion. As I said, it was scary. It would have scared me to hell and back as a child. And I thought, oh, Luigi's going to have his own fun adventure in the mansion, and he's going to grow on his journey, and Mario's going to grow on his journey, and they're going to come together and be better halves to their unit. And then Luigi immediately gets kidnapped by a bunch of shy guys, and that is the end of Luigi actively doing anything.
That is the most damning strike on this film for me. It is the thing that takes away that 10 minutes I really earnestly managed to find some love for at the start of this film. The brothers' tale and them using the environment to their advantage and being together and being stronger. And it just sends Luigi into a different portal and then sends him into a not even attributably enough damsel in distress role. Guy in a cage for 90% of the movie role. There's no coming back to Luigi post this point of his capture because he's just in a cage. There's no dynamic escape scene. There's no bond he builds when he's in prison. There's nothing until Mario comes back to steal the show and integrates Luigi into the plot again.
Luigi is not even the most interesting parts of the Luigi scenes after this point, because every Luigi scene after this point is stolen by Lumily.
The most depressed toddler / infant you've ever known. And it just slaughters me. And I'm going to start saying a lot of things here on a screenwriting sort of perspective. What the hell is going on with the start of this film and the non-conclusion it awards itself when time resumes? It feels like we begin the brothers' story and then we descend into Mario referential absentia of any actual emotional depth or intrigue. And it's just this forever. To eventually coalesce as I'm watching the film into the title of this video. Oops, you got a little movie in your Mario there. Let me wipe that off for you. Oh my god. Mario Kart, Luigi's Mansion, Smash Brothers joke, Mario Maker joke, Mario Platformer gag. Sure, it's material referential. It's a storied and decades-old franchise that means a lot to people the world over. But these bits where we pay this lip service forbid us the territory with which to make our own unique take upon and evolution of this material. There's not a bit where I feel like the Mario movie is excelling as its own piece of Mario media, rather just as a megaphone for other pieces of Mario media. Call me stupid. I just don't think there's a revolutionary, original, or intriguing bone in Mario's decrepit, shambling, illumination-led minion corpse of a film.
There are some, and I hate to sound like J.J. Abrams here, there were some subversions I liked, whereas you think Princess Peach is going to need to be saved by Mario, but she's already got her own plan and she saves herself. That was cool. There were other cool subversions like that, but I remember thinking literally these words. I know it sounds pretentious, but I am very autistic and sometimes words just come to me in pretentious ways. Okay, how is the hero irrevocably changed by his journey as Mario wakes up and they play my favorite song, Mr. Blue Sky, and how he irrevocably changes after his journey is that he and Luigi have moved out of their parents' house and their business is running fine, but now they have to commute daily from the Mushroom Kingdom to New York.
I am just so bothered by the start and end there, because look where it keeps coming back to for it to feel like it meant something. It's returning to Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
The initiating moments of this film that I think are delightful, almost Pixar-esque actual movie-making stuff, just get eroded by the entire mid to almost end of this film. Luigi's gone. Mario is surrounded by caricatures of video games that think he's a goofy idiot and say he's a loser because he's not grasping the material that everyone in the world knows too well, except me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, Mario, make your cool car, put on your raccoon suit, and fly around and hit bullet men in the head. It's like, what is this? The initiator of this film, that first 10 minutes, is about everyone delegitimizing the brothers.
Yeah.
You're silly, you're stupid, you're unsuccessful, you're losers. And then the material of the film therein is some other bizarro fantasy land thing. It means there's no room for any one given plot in this film to come to a decent emotional core.
Yeah.
The character of Donkey Kong has some legitimately compelling 4 minutes of characterization, because that's as much as can actually be afforded. He's got an almost rivalry with Mario, and he goes, I'm not just a punching bag, I'm not just a smashing guy. He gets mad, he gets upset, because he feels like the Kong Kingdom needs him to be this great warrior king.
Yeah.
And he just really loathes the simplicity it puts upon him. There is no time to deal with that in this film.
No, they do literally they do a Jonah and the whale joke about the Mario 64 dire depths eel, where Donkey Kong punches the eel in the stomach so hard it burps and then they fly out. And that is the movie proving to Donkey Kong that being the punching guy, being the smashing guy, is exactly what gets him out of the situation.
It regresses his arc, because there's no room for him to have an arc, because the Mario movie seems so goddamn scared that there is no space for it to breathe.
Yeah.
So it initiates its emotionally engaging and really intriguing brothers arc and abandons it so we can have more Peach and Bowser and more Toad and more Mario Kart.
All your favorite characters, unless you like Bowser's Kids, or Wario, or Waluigi, or Daisy, or Rosalina, or I can go on. There is a lot missing. I won't go, hey, the only Bob-omb in the movie is King Bob-omb. The only Boo in the movie is King Boo. I'm not saying they're important species. It's just they do a lot to show a lot of different creatures. The Spinies are there, despite Bowser going, whatever those things are. I suppose that lends us to another one of our modern movie frills and chills that we always hate. Material undercut by its need to make a joke of itself, lest it seem too earnest and be vulnerable to criticism. I like earnestness. I will go out and say Everything Everywhere All at Once, it owns itself through earnestness. Whenever I get to Wayman's speech, right at the second third of the film, thereabouts, it always makes me cry, because it is the crystallization of everything I try to do as a person. And they get that. And there's no
potential for there to be something like that in this film. I feel is an important point to clarify.
Yeah. Mario and Luigi don't have the same struggle. They're not a unit that struggles in and of itself. They are two separate people who love each other so much and have their own struggles that the other one finds difficult to relate to. Mario himself, he has the bravery to do anything that's required if it helps Luigi, because he loves Luigi. And Luigi is very scared of a lot of things, but he loves Mario, so he's pulled along on his adventures. Mario's weakness is that he doesn't have any kind of self-identity. He's Luigi's brother. He helps Luigi, and when he's on his own, he just needs to help Luigi until he's not on his own again. And there are points where Luigi shows that he has been brave. There is a point in the movie, right at the beginning, where Luigi and Mario are getting attacked by a dog. and Luigi holds up a massive circular mirror to try and guard Mario from the dog. And he tries this, and in the split second it takes the dog to get closer, he abandons this because he realizes he can't do that. Later on in the film, Mario is about to get killed by a fire blast from Bowser, and Luigi holds up a manhole that is the same size, and he holds it up until the edges are melting away just to shield Mario from the burning flame. And Luigi doesn't have an adventure, as I said. I would have loved it if he did, but Luigi spends his life in a cage in this movie, whereas Mario goes on the adventure, and he, by the end of it, values his success because he did the thing he did at the beginning of the movie. He saved Luigi. And while I appreciate them not doing like a fake out death, it still leaves the protagonist of this very protagonist-centric movie without a real arc. He's more sure of them as a unit, but of he himself, he's right where he started.
His faux rivalry with Donkey Kong doesn't give him more definition as a person who can be occasionally antagonistic instead of just the hero that his little brother needs. His burgeoning relationship with Princess Peach doesn't give him much definable more a place in the world so much as it just in that last moment of the film suggests, oh, he moved there. That doesn't mean much except that he felt comfortable moving to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Which...
Just work with Luigi a little more.
Yeah, which in this world is not very difficult to get to from New York. It's like, what, a hop, skip, and a jump down a sewer pipe, which is funny enough as that is. It's way less of a sacrifice to, you know, start off on your own in this unkempt wilderness, if unkempt wilderness is literally right next door to the big city you've always known and grown up in. Because the warp pipe back to the big city is literally outside their front door. One thing I wanted to say, which was funny, the reason they have the pipe reconstructed to be outside their front door is the old pipe got blown up because Mario did a Congress in Avengers move and decided to save the day by nuking New York.
I know this isn't that kind of movie, but if there was a little something about Mario choosing to absolutely brutalize and wreck what he was raised to protect and love there because he's found something rather he cares for more absurd and dangerous and ill-defined as it is as the Mushroom Kingdom and all its counterparts are. So he goes, damn New York, the Mushroom Kingdom's my place. And that could be something.
Yeah. Literally, there is no reason for Mario to believe this, but the big destroy everything bomb blows up in the subspace between the Mushroom Kingdom and New York. So it's probably a happy accident that Mario gets to see his parents again. That's a bit too mean.
No, it's okay. It's how we felt, which is the most important part of this item on the flowchart we're at as we transition near the end of this review. How did we feel anyway? Taking in celebrity castings, what we liked, what we didn't, what Mario means, it being an Illumination product. Where did our hearts end up?
Overall, despite everything, I liked it. I would probably buy it if I saw it on sale as a Blu-ray, not 4K. I find it less than it could have been, but more than I thought it was going to be. I find it in a weird place where it has met the minimum that I'd consider this a success in my books, but it was like, it clawed victory from the jaws of defeat and still halfway got through those jaws.
I'm going to reference the video that opens this review. I took it as we were leaving the movie theater. Maybe it doxes us. Whatever. You get to hear a desolate and faraway wailing of some kind of uber corporate inoffensive music thing happening down a distant hole as I zoom in gently on a black screen, white text saying, freedom. It's a crushed thing amongst a million other brands. That's the Mario movie. Any part of this that I think is compelling and worthy film is just crushed underneath the weight of what a Mario movie needs to be after decades of people going, I want a Smash Brothers movie. I want a Mario movie. I want a Luigi's Mansion movie. I want to see the things I loved the most put up there on the screen for however many literal dozens of hours and trilogies it would take for me to be satisfied with the movie I've wanted to exist and have storyboarded in my mind since I was 7.
I want a Fast and Furious movie, but Dom's name is Mario.
If there had been the audacity on the inherently audacious project of a Mario film for the directorial people here, I believe it's literally a duo.
It is a duo of Michael Jelenic, first-time director, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but I will have it here in text. And this is his second film he directed. His first film, which was also co-directed, was Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
A lot like Teen Titans Go, then, and this is ultimately supportive of my point. There's the skeleton of something beautiful here, but it's crushed. There's just not room. It starts and ends at the place where I think there was actual authorial intrigue and is taken back by everything it needs to be, so Nintendo can put it on their flagship promotional merchandising for the next couple of years, or so the Cartoon Network can play all 20 episodes of it for 40 days consecutive. I just liked the Mario film. I would say I'm sorry, but I'd feel worse if I'd lied to you and said, I think this is one you should watch. I think this film has the appropriate amount of breathing for its occasionally engaging and interesting material to justify it being even the hour and a half long that it is.
That is
But
something...
it's not there.
I do like that it's 90 minutes. A lot of films are way longer than 90 minutes, and I appreciate something that knows how little time it needs to do what it wants. I would not say go and see this. I would say if you were going to watch this, then you will probably like it more than you dislike it. But if you weren't going to watch it already, then don't go out of your way to watch it. It's not...
I'm brought to one thought over and over that I think will close out the review unless you want to say your thing now, Matthew.
I was just going to say, as I said earlier, it's not everything it could have been, but it's more than I thought going into it with the Illumination at the helm.
That's true. There's a point in this film, it's in the Mario Maker section, in which Mario must learn to platform. Holding out for a hero begins to play. There is a point later in this film when Mario is about to crash a wedding with the help of his kooky and strange friend who is much larger than him and very violent that he has gained in the last half of the film, in which Holding Out for a Hero does not play. Through this, I am reminded of genuinely adventurous, bizarre, and ill-advised films that made it work. Shrek movies. Mario isn't a success against all odds. We're sorry. That's the end of what I have to say about the Mario movie.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for watching, being here. Please, if you've got thoughts, leave them in the comments and we'll respond because we want to. And yeah, I hope... What?
Luigi and friggin' Mario do a rider kick in this.
Yeah! Yeah!
They do a big, dumb Dragon Ball Z Videl and the Great Saiyaman super move kick. They do a common rider super kick.
Yeah, I forgot to bring it back to the transformation right at the end with the superstar. Okay, this is the end then.
Hey everybody, check out the last 15 minutes of this flick on YouTube a couple of years from now, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, just watch the first 10 and last 10 minutes of this movie. You will miss nothing anyone actually needs to exist.
You'll miss a quantitative 2 minutes of Seth Rogen doing Okay, I'll leave you with that. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.